And we are back on 99 Pod, and it's time to move on to the next topic that we have here on today's show, moving back to the NBA. Or the Cavaliers, not to be so cavalier, but on the Cavaliers, the most underrated team in the NBA. And Zay, I want to highlight you right now first because you wasn't high. You was the only one on this show that was not high on the Cleveland Cavaliers on the show this year. Now, clear, it's early, very early, but what you've seen thus far, are they the most underrated team in the NBA? And if not, who is?
So I don't believe the Cavaliers are the most underrated team in the NBA. Just because it's still early in the season, but I also don't believe that the teams that they played were very comp worthy. You know, we talk about outside of the Boston Celtics thriller that just happened the other night. You know, they played the Wizards, they played the Bulls, they played the Magics, they played the Hawks. They played the Magics. It looks impressive. It's cool, but it's not as impressive as the team I'm about to announce, which is the Toronto Raptors. This team, Toronto Raptors, have dismantled teams left and right. They actually gave it to the Cavaliers when they beat them during the season. You know, that was, I believe the only loss accrued from the Cavaliers is against the Toronto Raptors. And I told people this before the season started. The Toronto Raptors is the team that is going to shock the world in the NBA because of how gritty they play. They're a defensive team. They have guys who can score 20 and also lock up a guy and make sure you're not scoring 20 on the other side of the court. They have centers that are able to shoot the ball and be versatile. They can move around the perimeter and defend. They could defend the paint. They could defend, shoot threes. They could drive into the paint. They do a lot of different things. So, the Toronto Raptors team for me is the most underrated team because people had them outside of the playoffs. They had them in the play-in tournament potentially, and I didn't see that. I saw them as the top 6 team in the Eastern Conference. No matter who's hurt, there's always a guy on that bench willing to show their worth and show their strengths. Gary Trent Jr. has revitalized his career essentially on the Toronto Raptors team because he's turning into that 3-and-D guy, the guy who's actually playing the lockup defense and also hitting those threes 5, 6, 7 in a game. So that's a big thing. Everyone has the green light on this team. There's not a person on this team shy to score the basket. Nobody is deferring and saying, I can't score the basketball. There's not a bunch of Ben Simmons on this court who could just run into the paint and just dish it off even though you got an open dunk. That's not what this team does. They're gritty, they're aggressive, and they're going after every thing from steals to blocks to layups to threes. They're doing it all. So I think for me, the Toronto Raptors are the most underrated team in the NBA.
I'm going to disagree with Zay. I think they are a good team. They play well on both sides. They defense is scary, and they play good as a committee. But the thing about the Cavaliers that I like about them is that they have a finisher, that somebody in the playoffs could win a game. You know what I'm saying? Go off on the fourth quarter and take a game-winning shot without no fear in his eyes. And Donovan Mitchell. Now, I would say this. When you look at that game against the Celtics, that backcourt matched the backcourt of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. I believe Tatum and Brown, they had 56 points, and Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell matched that with 54. Now, the thing that Donovan Mitchell was making his run on Cleveland so impressive is the fact that when you reflect back on the Jazz, where the game was actually easier for him in the sense that they had 3 shooters on the floor that averaged almost over 40% on the floor, which made defenses had to pay homage to the arc, allowing him to drive to the basket and penetrate the paint with easy looks and blow by defenders. When you look at what he's doing right now in Cleveland, what's impressive about that is that they have 2 non-shooters on the floor in Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. And the fact that he's still able to get by defenders with ease, it's impressive. And I think now that you have Darius Garland coming back, now the game is easier, and now you have a 1-2 punch. And now when you look at the roster, you talk about guys like Caris LeVert, although he's highly inefficient, he'll have to take a lot of shots to make a lot of shots. He'll have his moments where he'll give you 40 like he did a couple games ago, right? He'll have his moments where he can go off like we saw in the bubble on Brooklyn. We saw what he did against the Celtics on the Nets, where he dropped like 50 points. So he have his moments where you could trust him with the ball in his hands. So I think they just have a little bit more star power for me. And I believe, although you can play well and win as a team and actually have success, you need the superstars. You need a guy that can get you a bucket when you need it late in games. And that's why, and I'm going to end here, when it comes to my Knicks, anytime I talk about the Cavaliers and Donovan Mitchell, my heart always drops because it's like, I understood that Danny Ainge tried to rob us. Okay, and because he couldn't rob us, he dissed us. Even though we had more to offer, he penalized us for having more to offer because we wouldn't let him rob us voluntarily. We should have paid the price for Donovan Mitchell, and it's reflective on how we look in New York and how the Cleveland Cavaliers look right now, and that's why they are the most underrated team, in my honest opinion.
Man, I think both of y'all make great arguments. But I'm agreeing with you, Cuzzo. The reason why I'm agreeing is a little different, though. I don't think people, although we know he's a star, people don't really believe in Donovan Mitchell as a person that could lead a team to a championship, right? Is he that guy? We don't know if he's that guy. So that's where and he's out to prove he's that guy, because that's what it's really all about, right? Not that they're going to win a championship, but he's trying to say that I am that guy. I can lead a team in the playoffs and win a championship. Utah, they have the best record in the league, I think 2 years in a row, and they just amount to nothing. They lose home court advantage in the playoffs. They keep losing. It ain't there, right? So when he comes over here to the East Coast, yeah, people are undervalue how really good he is. So that makes the whole Cleveland Cavaliers underrated, because I think Donovan Mitchell is undervalued, right? You're right. The Knicks should have got him. He's really that. To me, he's that good. I think he can be that guy. I think he is that talented, but people is not giving him that superstar status yet. So he is undervalued. Going to Cleveland, they undervalue that. Pairing up with Garland, they have a problem. Nobody's going to be able to stop that back. Nobody. Name a team in the NBA you think that's going to be able to stop that. It ain't going to happen. I am a fan of Donovan Mitchell. I think he is a superstar. I think he was getting shortchanged in Utah, being the way they ran their system and put the ball in his hand for the most part, and go for it. He got a legitimate star right next to him. I'm telling y'all, I think Cleveland is going to be a problem, and I think Cleveland is going to be a problem to the big boys in the East when you come down to the Boston Celtics or the Milwaukee Bucks. And I think the Milwaukee Bucks probably the best team, but I think Cleveland will get them a problem. So I'm agreeing with you, Cuzzo. They is the most underrated team in the NBA right now. And you got to understand, when you add in a superstar, for them to come out early, they're going to get better as they learn to play with one another. Normally, when you pair a superstar,
Darius Garland was out. He was out.
Yeah.
He just played. Yeah. He just came back.
It takes a while. Donovan Mitchell feels like he's been there for 2 years. He's flowing like, yo, I'm this dude. I see it resonating and them getting better every month the NBA season go on. And by the end of it, I think they might be the second best team in the East behind Milwaukee.
Now, I know Zay got a lot to say about that. I see his face. I'm going to let him get in here in a couple of minutes. Because you made a very interesting point that I agree with as well. It's a full moon. We agreeing a lot today.
Yeah.
What I would say is that you talked about Donovan Mitchell and guys not really believing that he's a superstar yet. They believe he's a star, but not a superstar. And we all know superstars and stars are two different things, right? Now, where would you put Donovan Mitchell? Because he moved from the rest of the East. A lot of people, consensus will say the East has the majority of the talent now. It has shifted from the rest of the East. Where would you rank Donovan Mitchell when you talk about players in the Eastern Conference? I know I'm putting you on the spot, but can you do your best to try to rank him? Where does he fit in the echelon when it comes to the Eastern Conference players?
Man, that's rough. That is rough. Off the rip, if I try to run it down really fast, Giannis and KD, you just push them to the side, right? I'll pit Tatum over him, and then I might stop right there. No disrespect to Joel Embiid, no disrespect to Harden, Kyrie. I'll probably stop right there. And what I mean is, you can have a healthy debate with anybody else. With anybody else in the East, you can have a healthy debate with Donovan Mitchell. Take out those three guys.
Jaylen Brown or Mitchell?
No, I'm Jaylen Brown or Donovan Mitchell. I'm taking Donovan Mitchell. I'm taking Donovan Mitchell.
Zay, Jaylen Brown or Donovan Mitchell?
Hey, listen, man. I'm taking Donovan Mitchell, but Donovan Mitchell's not a top 5 in the Eastern Conference as a player. Shooting guard, you could say a different story. He's definitely going to be like top 3, top 2, top 3, depending on how you have that list. Right. Guards in general, he's probably top 5, maybe a little less than top 5 if you look at what the rest of the Eastern Conference is doing. Because you talk about Kyrie Irving, you talk about Trae Young, you talk about Jaylen Brown. If Chris Middleton's healthy, where do you put him? You talk about how Gary Trent Jr. has been playing. You talk about, like you said, James Harden prior. You talk about what Tyrese Maxey's doing this season.
Right.
So you talk about there's a lot of different factors that go into like where he's at. But he's playing great basketball. Donovan Mitchell is lighting it up for Cleveland right now. There's no question about it. It's about what's going to happen when the season goes into like midway. Where's this Cleveland team going to be? Because they don't have a sustainable bench. Their play is premised off who's going to get hot. They have to bank on, like, let's say, for instance, that Knicks game, right? If Kevin Love never got hot, if Kevin Love was shooting, let's say he had 15 points instead of the 26, 27 he had, the Cavs not winning that game. The game's already taken away from them. No matter what Donovan Mitchell did. Donovan Mitchell could have 50, but Kevin Love's contribution was the reason why they won, right? Now, if Donovan Mitchell gets 50 points, but the rest of the team is not scoring, Darius Garland's cold, Jared Allen's cold, Mobley's cold, they're not winning games because the rest of the team is not contributing to the win. It's going to be Donovan Mitchell going for 50 and the rest of the Cavs going for 47. You can't win with 97 points in the game. It doesn't work like that. So you can have the guy who can make all the big shots, but we don't have the system and the role players to make consistent buckets, to put back layups, the little quick shots over here, the little mid-range jumpers. That's where this team falters for me when it gets midway through the season. When you talk about the top 6 to the Eastern Conference. Remember my list before? I had Bucks, I had Raptors, I had Boston Celtics, I had Miami, Philly, and the Nets, right? As the top 6 teams. I think those teams, because they have assets, they have the guys when they're healthy and ready to go, will push them to that top 6 echelon. I think the Cavaliers will falter because last year, if we remember, once Jared Allen went out, the Cavaliers started diminishing as a team, not because they didn't have talent, it's because they didn't have a consistent guy to score the buckets to do what they need to do on a basis, right? Now that they got Donovan Mitchell, let's say if Evan Mobley goes out, who's going to replace Mobley? They don't got no more 7-footers when they got rid of Markkanen. They got rid of, Kevin Love could play, but is he going to start or is he going to do the consistent 20, 25 minutes that he does off the bench? So the Cavaliers for me is where I don't know how I feel moving forward. Like the Bucks right now is 7-0. I don't see them going 25-0, 30-0, but they're winning games right now. And without Chris Middleton, their second best player. We see the Wizards 4-4 right now. That looks great. Are they going to be 20 and 10 by the next couple of weeks? I don't know, because everything looks great early on in the season because everyone has fresh legs. When everyone starts to get tired and guys are starting to get a little winded during that middle of the season, I want to see where this team is going to be, because the Cavaliers, they have talent, but do they have consistency, which I didn't see last year once Jared Allen went out.
Right.
Real quickly here.
Yeah, can I jump again, cousin? You got to do it.
Real quickly here, I just want to throw a few names at y'all right now, right? Because Cuzzo started a debate within the debate. Wizards, Bradley Beal or Donovan Mitchell, who you taking? Both of y'all can answer.
Donovan Mitchell.
Zay?
Repeat that last one more time.
Bradley Beal or Donovan Mitchell, who you taking?
They're very close. They're both very high. They're high. They're both high volume scorers. I'll go Donovan Mitchell. I feel like he has a little more tool. He has more shiftiness to his game.
Toolbox.
I feel like Bradley Beal's more of a he shoot it over you kind of guy.
Yep.
Jimmy Butler or Donovan Mitchell?
I'm going Jimmy.
Taking.
I'm going Jimmy.
That's a tough one. And I had that in my head. But I'm gonna be honest with y'all. The way Jimmy Butler performs in the playoffs, I'll probably take Jimmy Butler. I'm just being real.
I agree with that in the playoffs for sure. Yeah. So basically those are the guys. Trae Young or Donovan Mitchell?
That's another one, man.
I'm going Trae Young.
That's another one that I would have. And this is what I was saying when I was saying after I named those 3 big guys out of it, right? You can have a healthy debate. I'm not saying definitively he's better than these players. I just say you could put him in the mix of them. Because him and Trae Young, that's real close. I got you, Zay. I'm going Trae Young too. So I'm not trying to be funny.
Too.
You're right about that. I'm going Trae Young though.
I agree with y'all. I'm going Trae Young too. So that's why I wanted to bring that up. Because Cuzzo, even though I know you made yourself very clear that you would put him in the discussion after the top 4 or top 3, that's why I want to have that discussion, because it's very curious.
I agree with that. That's why I said it that way, because I was trying to say, like, take them out of the equation. You can really have a healthy debate now. It ain't as we saying these players are better, but it's really close. But this could be a defining season for Donovan Mitchell for us to look at him differently. Okay, so what I'm seeing for Donovan Mitchell, this will piggyback on some of the stuff that Zay was saying. Listen, Donovan Mitchell led a team in Utah to the best record in the league. So he's shown that he can show you that he can play all season like this. Okay. He got a legitimate all-star backcourt partner. Okay. Trust me when I tell you, I think they're going to be flowing. And really quick, he named off his top 6 teams. Let me just give y'all my top teams in the East. Milwaukee, guaranteed. Okay. My second best team that I think is going to be in the East this year, I had Atlanta. Okay. Third, I had Cleveland. Fourth, I had Toronto. Fifth, I had Miami. Sixth, I had Brooklyn.
I got 2 more guys for y'all, and then we done. Embiid, I know Cuzzo answered this partially. Zay, Embiid or Donovan Mitchell? Who you taking?
Oh, Joel Embiid.
I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm not. I'm taking Donovan Mitchell. And the reason, and it's not just because of the injury aspect of it, right? It's just not. Because Donovan Mitchell can go get a bucket. Joel Embiid needs somebody to help him go get that bucket. I just would take Donovan Mitchell over Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid didn't show me nothing, never yet in the play. Maybe Donovan Mitchell too. You can't get out second round. I just think that Joel Embiid had better teams to get out of the second round than Donovan Mitchell.
I partially agree with Zay there. I'm taking the big fella Embiid because he knows how to effectively dominate the game in multitude of ways. So I'm going with Joel Embiid there. One more and then we done. DeMar DeRozan or Donovan Mitchell?
Donovan Mitchell.
I agree.
Oh,
I agree off rip. I'm going Donovan Mitchell on that one.
We're gonna have to go Donovan Mitchell, but that's tough because DeMar DeRozan really does it all. Plays defense. He does it all. That's tough though. That's you know what's crazy? I think we should revisit this conversation close to the All-Star break because it's gonna be one of those situations. It's gonna be one of those situations when the Bulls and the Cavaliers gonna have similar records, and you're gonna see the difference. Because DeMar DeRozan, when Zach Levine's out, DeMar DeRozan carries that Bulls team to victory.
You know what though? I want to revisit this in close to All-Star break as well. I think we're gonna see a lot of different things.
Definitely. So look out for that, ladies and gentlemen, because these conversations are only going to get bigger and more debatier, if that's even a word. Debater, right? I don't care about the word. It's going down, and that's the word. Anyway, when we come back from the break, we got to give y'all a take for 99 cents. Keep it locked.